When it comes to brunch, nothing beats a crispy waffle topped with butter and syrup, or perhaps you prefer yours with whipped cream and berries. Whatever floats your boat, I'm going to show you today how to make super crispy keto waffles. Now, one of the most important considerations when you're trying to make crispy keto waffles is your waffle iron. I know people love deep Belgian waffles, the nice thick ones, but they just don't work with keto ingredients. They tend to brown too much on the outside without getting nicely cooked through on the inside, and they just don't get as crisp. So I actually recommend these Dash waffle irons. You can have the ones that are just single, but I love this one because it holds 4 mini waffles at once. It's perfect for making keto waffles. You can also just get any kind of thinner, classic waffle irons. So let's get making our waffle batter. I always start with 2 whole eggs. And then I add 2 egg whites to make it lighter and fluffier. You can actually use carton egg whites, and for this you need about 6 tablespoons, which is what I am using right now. Then I'm going to add some nut milk. I am actually using walnut milk, which is why this is a little bit darker in color, but you can use almond milk. You can actually use any regular milk or low carb milk for this. So I have half a cup of walnut milk, a 1/4 cup of avocado oil. You could use melted butter as well, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And we'll just whisk that all together until well combined. Now for the dry ingredients. I have 1 3/4 cup almond flour, 1/3 cup unflavored protein powder, and this is whey protein. I haven't tried this recipe with other protein powders, but in my experience, egg white protein tends to make eggy things like this rubbery. Just a warning. I have a 1/4 cup of granulated erythritol sweetener. Now to get them crisp, just like cookies, you can't use a sweetener with any amount of allulose. So I am actually using a version of Swerve that is just erythritol and monk fruit. So that's a 1/4 cup there, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and about a 1/4 teaspoon salt. You want to whisk all the lumps out, so you want to whisk quite vigorously. Get a little arm workout doing this. So you can see here, the batter is nice, and at this point it's pretty thin, but it has no lumps. And we need to let it rest for 5 minutes. In that time frame, we can be heating up our waffle iron. And once your waffle iron is preheated, you want to grease it ever so lightly. You don't want to add too much, so I just like to brush on a little bit of avocado oil on both sides. And you may only need to grease it once the whole time. So your batter has been sitting for a bit, so stir it up a little to mix it in. I use about a 1/4 cup of batter per mini waffle. If you just have one of the round classic waffle makers, you are probably looking at 1/3 to half a cup for the entire waffle. I may have overfilled these. We're gonna find out, and that's what those little channels are on the side are for. So if you overfill, you don't get a mess everywhere. Oh, I definitely overfilled it. I firmly believe that the only way to tell whether your waffles are done is to peek at them. And that's okay, you can put the top back down if they're not ready. I don't believe the lights on any waffle iron that tells me when things are done. I have never owned a waffle iron that's actually correct. So, I'm gonna take a little peek here. Whoop, one sticking to the top. They're looking good, but they're not quite brown enough. So we'll put the top back down and give them another couple minutes. So I definitely did overfill these ones a little. You can see along the side, I've got little waffle sticks. They're gonna be tasty themselves, but they're not exactly what I was looking for. We have 4 waffles. They're looking nice and golden brown. And we'll just take them off. And that's hot. And we'll do a few more waffles. Now, when I take my waffles off the iron, I always put them on a baking rack over a sheet so that they can continue to dry out and crisp. They won't come off the waffle maker super crisp, but as they sit, they will crisp up more. So let's get a few more waffles going, and we'll try to fill it up less this time. Always put your batter right into the center of the waffle, and it should spread out to the sides. Great. Okay guys, we're done, and I now have a nice tray of crispy keto waffles. Depending on your waffle iron, you should be able to get 15 to 16 waffles, and 2 is a serving. I have one more little tip for you. If you want them super crispy, you can get them into the oven at 200 degrees and leave them in there for about 10 minutes on a wire rack like this one. Make sure they're only in a single layer, and they should crisp up even more. We love having these around for breakfast, so I know that they're good, but I'll try one on camera anyway. So I'm gonna take one here, one of the first ones I made. My personal favorite is butter and syrup on my waffles. The keto syrup I'm using today is this one from All You Lose, which is a funny little play on allulose. Good idea. I actually make my own keto maple syrup, which is excellent too. And we'll dig in. Ooh, it needs a little more syrup because that syrup soaks in just like traditional waffles. I love having these around. We keep them in the fridge and we just rewarm them in the oven to re-crisp them up. So good. It's going to make my week. For this delicious keto recipe and so many more, please check out alldayidreamaboutfood.com.